So we're going to wonder if anything can top the last couple weeks for the NASA Rallycross Challenge, but we have certainly had great races on the Gymkhana rounds in the past. As hello everyone, welcome here to round number 7 of the 2018C NASA Rallycross Challenge season. We are in Lime Rock Park in Connecticut, getting ready for the first Gymkhana round of this season. As it's Josh Mertz bringing you the call, as always, for the Automotive Sports Network. We are a little bit down on cars, as a big storyline going into today's race, as Connor Parisi and Jeff Applegren had prior commitments and they are unable to be here. So the championship battle a little muted. They will get provisionals, but it's certainly going to hinder their chances. We're also missing Matt Kingsbury at one of his home races and Chad Simpson. So only 6 cars getting ready to do battle at Lime Rock Park. We're going to have the MRT teammates, Marwan Moftah, Ray Kingsbury, Victor Valley, who has been unsuspended, and Jacob Kraus. So this is our format. Very simple show, very fast show. 2 heat races, 6 laps apiece, Joker lap once. The final 10 laps, Joker twice for the 6 cars, no LCQ in Lime Rock. As qualifying finishing up, we'll jump right into it. Getting ready for the first heat here in Lime Rock. It's going to be Philip Kraus, Marwan Moftah, and Jacob Kraus. 6 laps in Connecticut. Green flag off the line. Kraus gets a better jump than Moftah. Looks like Moftah got a better bite off the line, but the factory car beats the Grid Kings car down into turn number 1. Rounding the corner, Moftah jumps the curb. Jacob Kraus followed him as well. And championship leader Philip Kraus certainly wants to extend his points lead. As we know, the Canadian, without having Parisi here, this is his opportunity to extend his points lead. As the cars get air on the uphill, and we go back down the hill. It's a very simple, straightforward heat race. Even though we've only finished 1 lap, the Jokers will now be allowed off the road. Was the 42 of Jacob Kraus. Through turns 1 and 2, Moftah got close. It's a car length lead. It was 56.372 to a 56.837. So Kraus and Moftah equal on pace, and Jacob Kraus in the 42. Let's see if they're going to Joker on the first opportunity. You'll notice the chicane there on the left-hand side. That is the Joker. It's not as tricky as next week in Summit Point, as that race certainly will be interesting. No Parisi, but the MRT teammates were on top of each other there last season as well. 52.484 for the championship leader. And it's been a funny and interesting little tidbit of a fact, because Philip Kraus and Mertz, they have not run their actual permanent numbers in quite some time. Well, remember, 2017B was the last time Mertz ran car number 81. Before that, it was 2016A. But realistically, because he wasn't allowed to run car number 1, we noticed Moftah jokered in the back. He wasn't allowed to run car number 1 as we came back from that hiatus. So realistically, the MRT team has essentially ran 1 or 2 every single season, except for 2017B, after Erdman won and defected to Area 52. So, granted, we have 3 races left as we take cross flags in heat number 1. We have 3 races left, excluding this one, so technically 4. We've got Lime Rock, Summit, Lucas Oil Raceway, and Iowa. 4 races left, but with the points gap that Kraus is going to have over the rest of the field, it's fairly confident that he's going to be able to take this championship. But we've seen crazier things. The Canadian Joker's a little sloppy on the exit there. Looks like he clobbered the curb. No harm done. And we're going to come to 2 laps to go. He had a much better Joker than Moftaw did as the gap widened considerably. As Jacob Kraus struggling in the 42 in the back of the field. Remember, everyone's going to race in this final, so realistically, they are just collecting bonus points. Fastest lap so far, 54.633. Well, that was Philip Kraus's last lap, I should say. In car number 2, Moftaw ran a 53.3. So remember, that was a Joker lap from Kraus, but Moftaw quicker than him. And Jacob Kraus 56.339. So interesting, the Joker's only about a second and a half. It's not a big delta like it was last week. Certainly changes things up. As we come to the white flag in heat number 1. Kraus leads over Moftaw and Jacob Kraus. Very subdued. Very straightforward. Let's ride on board the championship leader. Through the final corner. Fastest in qualifying, fastest in heat number 1, pole position to Philip Kraus in Lime Rock. Moftaw and Jacob Kraus, 2nd and 3rd. Heat number 2. In Lime Rock, defending champion Mertz, Ray Kingsbury, and what a beautiful livery for returnee Victor Valley in car number 60. Another 6 laps in Lime Rock. This should be a good race. Looks like launch control on Mertz's car let go early. I think he just jumped the start. So green flag, Valley to the inside of Kingsbury. I think Mertz is going to have to give up those spots as he jumped the start. So this is going to be huge for the defending champion. Granted, everyone races in, but you know he needs points. Let's see what he will do. Race control on the scanner saying you're going to have to give up those spots if you want to clear your black flag. And he will. He moves over to the side. So Kingsbury goes to the lead. Mertz is 3rd now. Valley 2nd. So we'll have to see if the Volkswagen can hold off the factory Subaru. What a beautiful livery once again. I said that just a moment ago for Victor Valley, but the man from Connecticut at his home race, Ray Kingsbury, leads in Heat 2. 57.879. Granted, that was a start lap. But the American leads on the road ahead of the man from Indianapolis, Victor Valley, and the German, Josh Mertz in 3rd. Let's see who will joker on the 2nd lap of the race. Kingsbury will in the 25. Mertz does not joker. Valley does. So this is going to put Mertz in 2nd, but he has not jokered yet. So if he can get the delta ahead of Valley, he will then be able to claw the gap back on Kingsbury. This is going to be absolutely fascinating in this heat race. Mertz looks to the inside on car number 25. Much later on the brakes is the defending champion. This is a very enticing battle. Let's see when the defending champion will joker in the one. He does now. So he exits the joker, and we'll see this delta from high above. That's how far he got to claw back. Coming across flags in Lime Rock, this should be a fascinating battle for the win of the heat race. Kingsbury 53.501. Mertz at 55.1. So, second and a half is the delta from joker to non-joker. And Kingsbury is taking it very easy in the 25. Up the hill. Coming at 2 to go. We're going to see the pace differential between the two factory programs. You saw Mertz is pushing so hard, he was 4 wheels off the asphalt there. Kingsbury off the road as well. This is getting very enticing for the transfer spot. 2 to go in Lime Rock. As the 25 is not as hard on the brakes into turn 1 as the 1 is, and claws up so much time. 52.815 to a 53.6. 0.8 of a second difference. Very easy on the brakes is Kingsbury. I don't think he's worried about the 2 bonus points, honestly, but we know the defending champion is in the points battle, extremely far out, but he is in the points battle. So we know that he wants to try to get as many bonus points as he can. Coming to the white flag in Lime Rock. Kingsbury leads Mertz, leads Valley, as Valley struggling in the 60. 53.1 to a 53.4. 0.3 of a second difference. Much harder on the brakes still. Kingsbury has sped it up going into the first corner, but the gap is down to a car length and a half, maybe less. Rounding turns 3 and 4. Through 5 to the uphill. Through Big Bend. I think it's going to be the last corner if Mertz can get something done, because this is a very single-file racetrack. Penultimate corner. Down the hill. You're going to have to ace this. Think of Island Rally a couple years ago. Final corner. Kingsbury's got the lead. Mertz is getting close, but it's not going to happen. Kingsbury wins Heat 2, as Mertz will transfer with a bonus point. Final time in Lime Rock, and this should be exciting. So due to a timing and scoring error, I'm not honestly sure what happened. The front row has been swapped with second place. So Philip Kraus still on pole, but you'll notice second and fourth have been swapped in positions. Mertz is second. Not sure what happened, but this race will certainly still be exciting. 10 laps, 6 cars. Kingsbury jumps a little bit, getting ready in Lime Rock. Green flag off the line. Kraus gets a better jump than his teammate. Mofta will beat car number 1 to turn number 1, as Mertz is third. Kingsbury fourth. Valley to the inside of him, so put the 60 to fourth. Kingsbury off the road. And the championship leader, Philip Kraus, certainly wants to make a name this season. Certainly has a name in the NASA Rallycross Challenge, but he wants to make a name for himself against the iRacing squad. Connor Parisi, Jeff Applegren, the Vusion Racing Boys. Marwan Mofta in second. Got a much better jump off the line, and Valley jokered in the 60. So it looks like he's going to be disqualified from the round of Lime Rock. At the end of the first lap, Kraus led. Valley will still score points, correction on that, but he will not be scored for the rest of the event. Moftaw's second. It looks like Mertz is faster than Moftaw, but Mertz got a much worse start than the Egyptian. So we'll just have to see how this transpires. Jokering, nobody from the top three. Kraus is fourth, Kingsbury in fifth, and Valley jokered again, and he's into the wall. So we know the 60 wasn't being scored after the erroneous joker, but for his first race on the Gen 4 regulations, I don't think they're really worried about him getting any higher than 6th. The battle, I think, here is going to be for second, because we know Moftaw's speed, we know Mertz's speed, and Mertz is really upset because he's behind Moftaw. He knows he has the pace on his teammate, but he cannot find a way by. From high above, we'll take a look as the top three, Mertz very wide, entering the joker. He thought about it. You notice the entry, he thought about it, and that's going to lose him some time. Let's tip the cap to Jacob Kraus, ahead of Ray Kingsbury in the 25. And Valley struggling still in the 60. As it's been quite a season for Philip Kraus. Yes, we're only coming to halfway in Lime Rock, but it's been a very good season, because since Sonoma, since he ended up turned around on the first lap of the race, he's been on the podium every single time. We remember the last time he was on the podium every single race. His teammate jokers, and a horrible joker from car number 1 gets passed by Kingsbury. You notice he hopped the curb on the left-hand portion of that chicane, and it certainly did not help his chances. But we remember, Kraus, 2017B, missed Lytton Hill, the first round of the championship. Finished on the podium every other race. Every other race was on the podium. That gave him that championship. So he has the level of consistency that not many other drivers have, because it's been him and his teammate in every single final this season. But he is the only driver to have stood on the rostrum every single race. Let's see if they will joker on the 5th lap of the race. I think Kraus is waiting. Moftaw jokers. And on the first joker rotation, he's ahead of Mertz. Kingsbury jokers. This is really down to strategy. We'll have to see when Kraus decides to joker to really see how the rotation is going to unravel. We take cross flags in Lime Rock. As the running order has not changed, Philip Kraus, Marwan Moftaw, Josh Mertz, Ray Kingsbury, Jacob Kraus, Victor Valley. From the drop of the green flag. This is really down to strategy. As Kraus will joker in the 2, comes out ahead of Moftaw. Mertz jokers in the 1, so complete his strategy. And Kingsbury finishes his strategy as well. So the 3rd and 4th place cars are done. Moftaw and Kraus still have a joker left. So we should expect them to joker a little bit later. But with it being a 2.5 seconds, I really think, and I hate to say this, I really think this race is almost run. Unless something catastrophic happens. Because the defending champion is in his own little zip code in 3rd. Kingsbury's running his own race after running it off in turn number 1. So let's just ride on board the defending champion for a lap or so and enjoy the sounds of NASA Rallycross. back to the sharp end. As Moftaw has gotten close, the strategy is finished, I believe. And Kraus really has had the upper hand on these guys all race long. Moftaw has jokered. He did have a joker left, but it's not going to hinder him in the battle for second at least. It's certainly going to potentially ruin his shot to win here in Lime Rock. We got one lap left, and Philip Kraus continues to lead, fastest in qualifying, one heat number one, and has led since lights out in Connecticut. And this is a performance that we haven't seen from the Canadian since the Generation 3 regulations. Remember when we used to have 7 or 8 cars, he had the upper hand over his teammate. It was certainly still, even with that little amount of cars, it was a great race. But Philip Kraus, when he gets in the zone, is quite literally incredible. Final corner coming up for the Canadian. Down the hill. Very easy run for Kraus. Win number 17, third all-time for the Canadian. He wins in Lime Rock. Second is Moftaw. Third is Mertz. Fourth will be Ray Kingsbury. Fifth, Jacob Kraus. And sixth, Victor Valley. So as the top three have turned it into Formula Drift here in Lime Rock, that man on screen is third all-time on the wins list. Broke the tie that he had with his teammate Cody Erdman. 17 wins. He's 2 wins away from tying Chris Wetz. As we don't typically update the amount of wins for a team, but MRT 63 wins in the NASA Rallycross Challenge. To put that in perspective, Revolution Racing 37 wins, and the next highest is Area 52 with 8. Subaru has essentially clinched the Manufacturers Championship. They realistically clinched after like round 3. They've got 76 wins in the NASA Rallycross Challenge over Mitsubishi 39. Citroen 14, Volkswagen 7, Ford has 3. 17 points is the points lead from Philip Kraus to Connor Parisi, 128 to 111. Marwan Moftaw with 110, Mertz with 100, and Jeff Appelgren with 98. That's the top 5. As we have one more Gymkhana round at Summit Point. We remember last season how incredible that was before we go back onto the dirt. So we have a trip to West Virginia, then to Indianapolis, and then to Iowa to close out this season. Very simple race, but still a very entertaining race strategy-wise in the NASA Rallycross Challenge, and we hope you enjoyed today's coverage here on ASN. We hope to see you next week at Summit Point, but until then, so long everyone.